What's up, everyone? It's Chicks in the Office with Rhea and Fran, giving you that Friday energy on a Friday. Today's show is a good one because we've been waiting all week to talk about these topics. I know that we've just been dying to talk about Armie Hammer. We don't care about anything going on in our personal lives this week because we just want to talk about Armie Hammer, right, Fran?
Correct. This week has been dominated by two things for me. Armie Hammer and driver's license. I haven't done anything else, but think about Armie Hammer while listening to driver's license. Now, some might say, ew, Fran, that's really weird. Why would you think about Armie Hammer while listening to this song? But I just have the song on constantly that I'm just doing my life. Like, I'm so invested. I'm thinking about how Josh Bassett has a new song dropping in like a couple hours. Now, the rumors are that it was written before all of this drama, so it wouldn't be about Olivia. But like, if we're just gonna get songs from both of them, I'm way too involved in the High School Musical, the series drama right now. And like I said, between that and Armie Hammer, I have not thought about one other thing all week.
I was very involved in the Joshua, Olivia, Sabrina drama up until the Armie Hammer shit came out. I haven't thought about anything but Armie Hammer. I watched Call Me By Your Name for the first time last night because obviously, it's not a good time to be watching Armie Hammer movies, but I was told you need to watch Call Me By Your Name. You have to watch it. And so I watched it and it was unbelievable. And now it feels odd saying that. It doesn't feel right saying that, but Timothée Chalamet, yep. You have my heart, King. So I think we can just get into the topics.
That's the real success story of watching that movie. Because I think you were pretty like middle ground, like whatever on Timothée Chalamet. Mm-hmm. And now that has changed post that movie. So I feel like that's the real success story here.
It started changing when I saw him with Pete Davidson and I knew that was a problem. Yep. It spoke something to me that all of a sudden I thought Timothée Chalamet was hot because he was doing skits with Pete Davidson. I was like, oh, your brain is fucked up. And then I watched Call Me By Your Name and I'm so in on Timothy now. And there's the peach scene that people talk about. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It made others uncomfortable. It didn't make me uncomfortable. But anyways, let's get into the topics for today. Obviously, we're talking about Armie Hammer. All right? This whole podcast might be about Armie Hammer.
Times? Yeah. Well, Armie Hammer's name is going to be said no less than 100 times this episode.
He unfortunately has a good name, too. We will also be talking...
Yeah, the firsty lasty name, for sure.
And
we're not going to be calling him Armie.
No. And also... we're going to get into it, but his real name is Armand Hammer. Arm and Hammer kind of screams cannibal. Anyways, we will also be talking about the Sex and the City reboot. It's coming back, HBO Max. We're super excited. And Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey confirmed their relationship, and we're excited about that new couple. And we also have an interview with Cynthia Bailey from Real Housewives of Atlanta. So let's get into it, starting off with the one, the only Armie Hammer. This week took us by surprise when at the very beginning of the week, Armie Hammer's name started trending all over Twitter, all over the internet. All we saw was Armie Hammer DMs sexting. When you hear that, your ears, they perk up. You say Armie Hammer sex? I want to know what they're saying. Not good. They are not good. They are violent. They are scary. They are every word that I can name that you would describe these. I can't even put it into words. See, I'm fumbling over my words because it took us by surprise, so much so because listen, we've seen a lot of celebrity DMs come out before. We've seen celebrity nudes get leaked before. There's always some sort of celebrity scandal that takes us by surprise.
Right. And they're always getting a little kinky.
Right.
Like, we're always like, we can accept like some kinky shit. Like, maybe you're getting a little weird sex addict type things. Okay, that's run-of-the-mill celebrity problems. This was a whole nother level we did not expect.
I think it is the number one craziest celebrity DMs we've ever seen. Would you agree with that? There's nothing that can top cannibalism. It's not
even close. Rhea, it's one screenshot after the next. You're reading it and you're like, what in the world is happening? So these were like kind of the first ones. And as the week has gone on, more have been revealed. Other people, it does kind of seem like this girl, House of Effie, was one of the first people to post screenshots and tell her story. The way she described it was that like she had spoken with other women who have been involved with him, and they all had similar stories, and they were all agreed like, let's put this stuff out there. So some of these might be two different people, like some of these might not be all for one person, they could be different, but once again, all alleged. Everything is coming from how screenshots, like, you know, besides Armie Hammer coming out and saying like, yes, I did this, which he's obviously not going to do. They are alleged, but boy, do they feel real. They feel so real. Like, I am 100%, I have no doubt in my mind that this is him. No doubt. At first I had some doubt. Now I have zero doubt.
I agree wholeheartedly. I don't even think there's a 0.1 chance that this is not Armie Hammer. I think it's 100% him. Obviously, he's not going to come out and say that. He said these are bullshit claims, whatever. But I think that if these DMs come out, you get on your Instagram. If they're not real, you get on your Instagram story and you're laughing at how absurd it is. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe this person said I'm a cannibal. Like, that shit, you definitely go on to defend and almost make a joke out of so that people know that this isn't real. I'm going to say that they're real. Obviously alleged, but in our hearts, we believe they're real. Also, if this is a sensitive topic for you, then I would fast forward because we're going to be reading some intense DMs from Armie Hammer.
So, let's throw a trigger warning on this right now. If you don't want to listen to the rest, if you don't want to hear some of these DMs, I would skip through this because let's just say, like, at first you were like, okay, he is clearly a dominant lover. He has said that in a Playboy article in 2013. He described himself as a dominant lover. Yes,
I'm rolling my eyes at you so fucking hard right now, Fran. I'm pissed at you, and you just stole it out of my mouth again because I told Fran about this the other day. I told Fran about this article the other day, and she wasn't listening to me. And I was like, Fran, I was like, there was this article about Armie Hammer did an interview in Playboy in 2013 where he was drunk, and he said, I'm a very dominant lover. You know, I used to be, now I have a wife. I can't do the choking and the pulling of the hair to my wife. It's different boundaries and whatnot. And I told Fran this the other day, thinking she was listening to me. She wasn't, because this morning she starts telling me, she goes, you see this? I said, shut up. That stopped speaking because I was talking to you about this the other day and you clearly didn't listen to me. And then she just jacks it out of, she just starts talking about it right here.
I wrote it down in my notebook and everything.
Oh unbelievable. Unbelievable. But you're right. When these DMs, so mad at you. When these DMs first came out, I will admit that at first, because when we didn't know if they were real or fake, I was like, Armie Hammer, if you want to drink my blood, go ahead. You know, if you want to cut off my foot, go for it. Joking.
People were making jokes on Twitter left and right, like showing up bloodied to Armie Hammer's house, being like, hey, I'm outside, like, open up.
Oops, I got a paper cut, Armie. Like that type of thing, you know? Was definitely making jokes like that. Now I have retracted all of that because there's something seriously wrong with this man. There really is. Let's read the DMs. There's something so wrong with him.
And these women, man, like, now he's had he had just had an ex-girlfriend or someone he dated this year, like, come out and talk about how she had to go to rehab and all these things. So it's really, really scary. But so, like, first you see a message like this, right? He said, also, bad grammar. I don't know if he's just typing fast. Like, they don't read well. I've thought about you and I doming and fucking and you being dommed and fucked so goddamn much the last few years. I have thought about you so much. It's been so hard not talking to you. I know I needed to, but it was so tough. You were the goddamn standard I hold women to in terms of kink and enjoyment of fucking them. You set the bar too high. You are like the Michael Phelps of fucking. Everyone else just doesn't have what you have. Wow, okay, sorry, that came spilling out and I feel badly. If I said too much, I'm sorry. House of Effie made her bio the Michael Phelps of fucking, which, you know, at least she has a sense of humor. And then this one says, oh my God, that just made me so hard and it makes me confused as to why. Is that even possible? so hard. Thinking of holding your heart in my hand and controlling when it beats. I am 100% a cannibal. I want to eat you. Fuck, that's scary to admit. I've never admitted that before. I've cut the heart out of a living animal before I'd eaten it while still warm.
Oh, see this, and listen, there's way more, but we'll stop right there
There's
because
so many
those.
more, but I think this gives a good example.
That gives a good example.
And we don't need to read more.
Oh, we're gonna read
There's
more.
a lot more.
I will read.
There's a lot more.
We'll read the rest of them. We have to, but I will say that these were the first ones to come out, which it was like. When those were the only two screenshots that came out, that's when, you know, the jokes were flying. And it was like, oh, Armie Hammer, a cannibal. Yeah, right. Now that more and more has come out, this man very well may be a cannibal. Like I would not be surprised if he's eaten some people in his life. He ate a heart of a deer in another one. He said he ate it while it was still warm. Like he just killed it, ripped it out, ate it right away. He said, I actually remember he said, my friend took a bite, threw up right away. Me? Nope. Like very.
He said, I took multiple bites.
Yeah,
didn't throw up.
Yeah, didn't throw up. Nope. And so it was getting more and more realistic. You know, he said to somebody, I want to cut off one of your toes and keep it in my pocket as a possession, so I always have a possession of you. Like, he has a fixation on cutting people and eating them. And I understand kinks, right? Like, but then there comes a point where it's like, if you fantasize about eating people and you crave people's blood and their skin, but you actually have not done it, I would still consider you a cannibal, right? Like, I think Armie Hammer is borderline a cannibal. From what I'm gathering from his information, there, you know, another ex came out and said he told her he wanted to barbecue her and eat her. Yeah. Like, one of his favorite movies is a French film, Raw, about a vegetarian who goes to veterinary school and she eats meat for the first time and then becomes fixated on flesh and needs to eat flesh. Like, he wants to eat people. Armie Hammer wants to eat people. Sexually.
It's just, like, no, yes. And like you said, people have their kinks, and if you get two consenting adults who want to go for it, go for it. But this is, now we've reached like abusive levels where these women were so manipulated by him, and he just has this honestly like serial killer personality where it's
Absolutely.
Like, okay, so charming, so like you're so personable, you get along, but so intense, and as you get to know them more, it's just darker and darker. Like Courtney, one of his exes, this woman, Courtney, I'm going to say her last name wrong, Vucekovich, they dated, I guess, this past year. She's a Dallas-based app founder. She spoke to the Daily Mail. She said that they met in June through mutual friends. She called him intoxicating. She said he's very charming, an intense human being. He's very affectionate. He makes you feel very safe. And then little by little, it gets deeper and darker. And he would manipulate her into playing along with his twisted fetishes, and that he would often fantasize about cannibalism. This is the girl who said he was really into saying he wants to break one of your ribs and eat it, like barbecue it and eat it. She shared a letter that he wrote. He dropped it off at her apartment, like to the doorman at her apartment. It's a note on a piece of computer paper that says, "I'm going to bite the fuck out of you, Armie." Like, it's just, she said, I was being so groomed and so manipulated to do these things that scared me. But like, he had a way of getting me to think that it was all okay. And she had to go through, she went to a 30-day intensive course of therapy for PTSD to deal with the relationship in October. That he gets so obsessed with you that it's hard to like break away from him, that he's like so sexually aggressive, and he gets so obsessive that he called her his slave. He's like a huge narcissist. He would leave her audio messages of like really graphic stuff. And this, I think, is the most telling thing, right? She said he's obsessed with himself, but also hates himself at the same time, if that makes sense.
Oh, so we've all been there.
He is just dark and twisted. She said on her Instagram story that she's actually now sober because of him. That she, after going to this facility, like, she cut out alcohol, any other drugs she was taking, because she's seen what that has done to him, and she doesn't want to be like him. Because now there's a lot of rumors that he drinks too much, that he does drugs. Dumois had all these posts like of his friends saying they've been trying to get him into rehab for forever and they can't get him to go, and he's just a ticking time bomb. So the article is, he's also broke apparently. She claims he has no money. He spends everything frivolously, and at this time he's like broke. He was house hopping. He doesn't have like it's insane. He was like, he didn't have money to like put gas in his car.
Armie Hammer has become quite unattractive, I'll say, from a month ago when I came in and I said, I think I have a new celebrity crush. His name's Armie Hammer. Yep. Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Think again.
Yeah, I really had to rethink that one. But
this is like part of the curse that you guys talk about someone and then something happens.
Something bad happens. I know. And the thing is, before all these details came out, I was like, all right, one night with Armie Hammer, and he cuts off my pinky toe. One night, and I could tell everyone, hey, I had one night with Armie Hammer. He cut off my pinky toe. It was a wild time. That doesn't seem like what he's handing out. It seems like if you get into an entanglement with Armie Hammer, you are stuck. There is no way out. He traps you, and that is a really scary place to be. So it's like, people are talking about these women that are bravely coming out, and they're like, well, they wanted to hook up with Armie Hammer. And like, yes, they wanted to hook up with Armie Hammer, but they didn't want to get trapped and tied up and held hostage in Armie Hammer's basement and then get their legs and feet cut off and eaten by Armie Hammer. Like, they just wanted to have a little sex.
That was never something that they thought like, oh, wow, Armie Hammer's giving me attention. I hope this doesn't lead to cannibalism.
Right. Like, yes, exactly.
That doesn't cross your mind. You're blinded by the guy in front of you, and it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Like, I can imagine
this happens, it seems like, so many times. It's been going on for years, it seems like.
Yeah, I can imagine these women, they start talking to Armie Hammer over DM on Instagram, and he gets weird with his DMs, right? He starts sexting, and people get carried away when they're horny. They say, you never want to look back on your sex. You say stuff that you just never thought your mind would even think of. Yeah. So I can see these women talking to Armie Hammer. He's sexting in this very, in a way that I've never seen before, saying he wants to eat you. You're not thinking when you actually hang out with him that he's going to do anything like this, because I do feel like sex don't really ever live up to what actually happens. Like, I feel like sex are quite exaggerated sometimes. So it's like, you don't really expect for Armie Hammer to take out a knife and say, hey, can I cut a sliver off of your skin and eat it? And it seems like that may be what he was doing.
Or what he wanted to do.
Or what he wanted to do, or what he tried to do. Yeah. Apparently, he ignored safe words. He would tell them, hey, we can have boundaries. We can have safe words if you want to consent to this thing. I think it's called consent, non-consent. So it's like rape fantasies. And there's safe words involved, and apparently he was ignoring all of that. So he just, went way past the limit and was highly abusive and is straight up like a cannibal. Like, I don't want to laugh, because obviously when you laugh, you're like, oh, that's fucked up. Like, these women, it's so absurd that you got to let out a chuckle almost, because Armie Hammer, who, you see him as the Winklevoss twins in The Social Network, and you see him in all these other movies, and it's like if we were to find out Chris Evans was a fucking cannibal. Like, you're so shocked by it because you don't think anything like this can ever come out, especially about a celebrity. I have to say, Armie, you really fucked up by using your verified Instagram to message people like this. And even if the women did sign an NDA, Like, they still have screenshots they can show anybody. Like, why would you send that from your verified Instagram? First of all, why are you a cannibal? But also, why are you sending it from your verified Instagram? Now, I think if we dive deep into Armie Hammer's life, I'm sure there was something that had to have happened to lead him to this point. What I'm imagining, and this could be so far off, is one night he took too many drugs. He was fucked up. He ended up eating some type of human flesh. And now he is fixated and addicted to it. Because I don't know, or he saw someone do it growing up, because I think the things that happen to you as a kid sometimes shape you as an adult. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's weird fetishes and kinks that happen when you get older because of something that happened to you as a kid. This is a lot of what people talk about in psychology. There had to have been something that happened with Armie Hammer for him to want to eat you. Like, there's something going on there. And it's really sad that his ex-wife, Elizabeth Chambers, who they only announced they were getting a divorce in July 2020, said she had absolutely no idea what kind of person Armie Hammer was. She didn't have a little inkling that he was like this. And I think that's the scariest thing. And that's what fucking scares me the most about this world. And I've talked about it once and I'll say it again. How do I not know that Hank is a cannibal? Like, how do I, like, you know what I mean? Like, I have such a hard time trusting people when shit like this comes out. So I'm like, you could be hiding literally anything. Now, I know Hank's not a cannibal. I don't want that out there now. He's going to be upset I said that. He's going to be like, you don't know I'm not a cannibal. But that's what Armie Hammer would say to Elizabeth Chambers. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Yeah. Elizabeth Chambers, it's terrifying because this is, like I said, goes back to when you watch documentaries or movies about serial killers and you're like, how did that guy have a wife? And like how did that happen? And that this is what they were doing. It's twisted. It's fucked. If anything, I would think that Armie Hammer like wanted to be the husband, the father that he was trying to be with Elizabeth Chambers. He is an actor after all. And so he that's the life that it's like, oh, this is the life I'm supposed to be having. But on the side, and when he's falling asleep at night, he's like, I can't resist these cravings. I can't resist them. It's like it's
Must
like a vampire.
Eat
like,
meat.
It's just like he has this deep, dark, twisted, horrible side to him where unfortunately the sad, terrible part of all this too is these women who now have had to come out and talk about this and how scary it must be for them to put these stories out there and get criticism for it and live through all of this. And like, be like going to rehab and having to get professional help for all the shit that Armie Hammer has put them through. It's wild. It is not what we expected. We did not see any of this from Armie Hammer. And it's, when he and Elizabeth Chambers broke up, there were all, rumors about him cheating. The rumors were that Elizabeth Chambers was aware that there were other women at times, and people were talking about him and Lily James and cheating of some kind. And clearly Elizabeth Chambers did not know the depth to all of that. We didn't know the depth of it. And now this is going to follow him forever. And he is, as of right now, he was supposed to star in a new movie alongside J-Lo that was supposed to start filming pretty soon. And he, there was a bunch of posts on Dumois saying, the studio is freaking out. They're already trying to recast him. He's out. They can't have him in this movie right now. And the studio themselves didn't put anything out. But Armie Hammer released a statement saying, I'm not responding to these bullshit claims, but in light of the vicious and spurious online attacks against me, I cannot in good conscience now leave my children for 4 months to shoot a film in the Dominican Republic. So that's like a I quit before you fire me type thing, I feel like. There's no way he's stepping away from this movie on his own. Like, he was for sure told, hey, you're out of this movie. There's no way we can have you. And also, J-Lo, who I'm sure is the one they're really listening to. If I'm J-Lo, I'm like, yeah, no thanks. I don't want to work with that guy. Pick someone else. Get him out of here.
Absolutely. I don't think Armie Hammer will ever work in Hollywood again, to be quite honest. I don't see a world where he can, because these claims and these DMs and the proof that these women have.
Right.
If anybody were to hire Armie Hammer, they would be absolutely destroyed. Like, I 100% think that they had to let him go.
It's a sick, twisted world.
They had to let him go.
I don't know if that's true.
I don't know how you can put Armie Hammer in a movie after he's like, I'm 100% a cannibal. A cannibal is not like a, hey, you know, funny thing, like, yeah, man, I like to eat humans. Like, that's murder. Like, you like to murder people and eat them. Now, I don't know if Armie Hammer has actually done that. I feel like if he actually has murdered someone and has eaten them, we would know about that. I feel like that's not something you really get away with. But I feel like he's tortured women to the point where they actually believe he's going to eat them. And I feel like that's bad enough. And
he's so extremely abusive.
Yes,
that
exactly.
You would think that he would be punished for that for forever, like you're saying.
I would.
For him, if he was to not work again. But you know, it's just like I said, it's a sick world where people get away with shit. Like, you see the shit that women say about Shia LaBeouf. Now, obviously, it's not, you know, Shia LaBeouf isn't like, hey, I want to eat you. That, you know, but he has these, you know, allegations against him from these women that say he's so horrible, so abusive, emotionally abusive, physically abusive, just like all around terrible. Will Shia LaBeouf continue to work in Hollywood? Probably.
Yeah.
Which is
that's a good
absolutely
point.
Twisted and horrible that is.
I almost think, now that you've said it, I almost think that because of how absurd the DMs are, that he may still work in Hollywood, just because they're like, that's so absurd that it's not even like...
Yeah. Like, and if he continues to deny it, like, if he comes out and does a full interview and says, like, this is not true, it's just a sick world, too, that, like, people are going to choose to believe him, even though they shouldn't. They're going to.
I don't know who would. I feel like they, you know, quote unquote, believe him. Like, you know, but there is so many other actors that could take the place of Armie Hammer. That's why I think he won't really work again, because you could literally put any. There's
insane.
There's many Armie Hammers out there. You know, he is quite good looking, and it's unfortunate how we've come to this, because now we can't root for Armie Hammer, and we were rooting for him. We were rooting for him, and he's a full-blown psychopath, cannibal, whatever else he is. I do think that what you said before about him wanting to have a wife and kids is probably very true. You know, there's part of him who's probably like, I wish I didn't act this way. I wish I didn't feel this way. I wish I didn't have these cravings. I want to have a wife. I want to have these kids. But something happened in his life where now he is this type of person. As for the women and them coming out and speaking about this, there was one DM where he said to somebody, I will send over the NDA. Now, I fear that probably all of these women have signed an NDA, because I think with celebrities, often they make women, if you're going to sleep with them, sign an NDA because they're a celebrity. And so I think that
if he comes after them
can
legally,
sue them.
That's going to be
I know it's
bullshit.
Bullshit, obviously, and that's what I fear. But if they signed an NDA, now I'm not saying they should keep their mouth shut. Absolutely not. But if they did put their signature on a piece of paper, then they can get sued, which is quite unfortunate, and it's fucked up, and it's bullshit. But if you signed your name to a piece of paper, which you were probably manipulated into because it's Armie Hammer, it sucks. It absolutely sucks. But I can see him taking legal action if they did sign an NDA.
Yeah. I agree with you. And like you said, it's more of a comment on society that is like, it's so difficult still for women to come out and, you know, talk about their abusers and have people believe them and not have to face legal action for outing what seems like a monster of a guy. Yeah. And that's just, it's really sick. So, you know, these women are so brave for potentially breaking these NDAs or whatever it is that, potentially they had to sign, if they did have to sign something, and agreeing to put this out in the public and let people know what this guy is all about. And Rhea, it ties back to what, this woman, Courtney, had said, that he is obsessed with himself and also hates himself at the same time. Like, he's a sick individual who needs to, check him into some facility. I don't know what, but it's like, get him
like a psych
I don't
ward?
Even know if I have no
jail?
idea. Yeah.
Like yeah. There's so many options.
I don't know what facility specializes in
cannibalism.
Yeah, it does seem like we've seen these stories, right? He's like driving, he's drinking, like he looks like he's an absolute mess. Mm-hmm. Absolute mess. So he has got a lot of problems. But first and foremost, yeah, these women coming out talking about this, it's very, very brave, and hopefully I hope they're not silenced by Armie Hammer, because that's just absolutely ridiculous.
I don't see this girl House of Effie slowing down anytime soon. I feel like she is going to keep posting. I wonder how his past co-stars feel. Like, how is Timothée Chalamet feeling right now? Like, I was watching Call Me by Your Name. I said I watched it for the first time last night.
They're all just as shocked.
And I'm like, is Timothée Chalamet looking back now like, fuck, like he gave off Cannibal vibes? Because I was watching Call Me by Your Name and I was like, oh my God, he's straight up giving off Cannibal vibes throughout this whole film. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe just because I know that now, I would have never thought that before. But things were just sticking out to me where I was like, this is kind of it. The things he's saying is like, did he choose to write that in his script? Because it sounds like something Armie Hammer would say now. Like, it's very, very strange. And I was planning on going back and watching old Armie Hammer interviews because I want to see, like, little Easter eggs that he drop about this obsession he has. I don't know. He talked about, there was one interview I saw with him and Timothée Chalamet, him talking about eating a raw piece of steak, a full piece of steak raw. That's disgusting. That will make you sick. If you eat a raw steak, and Armie Hammer, he's fine. That cannibal stomach can handle it. It's disgusting. It's really crazy.
It's insane. You don't just, I don't know. Never have I heard of someone with a fucking, I think I'm speak for the both of us, never of a cannibal fantasy, like where cannibalism turns you on, because that's where it seems like he is at. Like, he is sexually turned on by cannibalism.
Like, when he hears Cannibal by Kesha, he gets a boner.
Correct.
That's where he's at.
Correct.
Not sure if he's participated, but he definitely is turned on by it.
There's been some fantastic memes. We talked about it, like, when we talked about the news last week, right? Like, people are memeing till the end of time. And this is so sick and twisted and terrifying. But the memes are fire. They're
good stuff. You can't deny it. When you got somebody walking around with Nicki Minaj walking around with a mozzarella stick, dipping it into sauce, and somebody writes, "This is Armie Hammer after he cuts off my finger." Like, you can't not chuckle at that. It's good stuff, but it's good because it's so crazy. Like you said, like, we've never. Yeah. Who would have thought we'd ever get a cannibal story like this? I've actually been very intrigued by, that sounds fucked up, not in a way where I'm like, I want to try cannibalism. I think it's disgusting. But when I was younger, I might have told this on the story before. My dad told me a story when I was way younger, and I think it was to scare me into kissing boys, to be quite honest. But he was like, there was a story about a woman who went to a bar and made out with a guy. And she came back and she had a rash on his face, on her face.
Tall tale.
Yeah, went to the doctor.
I think
like, that's a
everybody
rash
has heard this story.
that you get from a cannibal. They went to the guy's hotel room and he had bodies in his fridge. Not sure if that's a true story, but that's what my dad told me.
No, I think everybody in the world has heard that story.
Yeah, ever since I was younger, I was like, cannibals, huh? Like, think about how many cannibals you've passed walking on the street. At least one or two. At least one or two people have looked at you and said, I'd like to eat her. It's crazy. Well, now I'm getting too sick and twisted about it. But Armie Hammer is a sick and twisted fucking guy. That's all we know.
It's just insane, and it's sick and twisted when you Google cannibalism, and everything that comes up is just articles about Armie Hammer.
I think Armie Hammer, because this is the thing is people are like, don't kink shame, but like, I think I'm gonna kink shame if you're into cannibalism. Like, I think I'm gonna kink shame that you want to murder people and eat them. Well, like, I think that's an issue.
Also, yes, it also reaches a line where you can say don't kink shame until you get to the point where the women are like, this man was so like abusive. It's not
right.
When I think it's like, if, like I said, if you're two people and this is what you're into, or he likes it, and if you're consenting adults and you're okay with what's happening, okay. And maybe in the moment, these women were like, didn't realize what was happening. But now looking back, thinking of how terrifying and emotional and abusive it was for them, then I think we're allowed to say, like, that's pretty fucked up of him.
Yeah. Once it reaches that point, right. Because yes. I could see myself, not now, but, getting into a little entanglement with Armie Hammer, and he starts sending me DMs where he's like, I'm 100% a cannibal. And then I just keep responding because I'm like, where is this going? Armie Hammer's DMing me that he's a cannibal? Like, now what's happening? But yes.
Right. You got a message like, hey, I want to drink your blood. You're like,
whoa. Whoa. Maybe when I'm on my period, Armie. Sorry.
Yeah.
I
don't have anything.
They've lost me. You know what they said in the office before? I walked past Kevin and they were talking about Armie Hammer, and he was like, Rhea, like, we've lost you. He was like, you started working here too young. It's been too long, and we've lost you. You've reached beyond the point of being a normal person. And I was like, I think that sounds about right. I've been in this place for too long.
Yep. So here we are, and I think that covers it for now until we see what else happens.
I think it covers it. I think we can go away saying that we think these are real, and we think that you should think they're real. But they're alleged, but
yeah,
we think they're real.
But that seems real. Big news from HBO Max this week. Sex and the City is coming back. Now, Noah, now I'm thinking about it when I say Sex and the City. I think sometimes they say Sex in the City, or and in kind of turn into the same word.
Sex I kind of like in, honestly. I feel like that rolls off the tongue better. Like
it just ends up saying Sex and D, like the D gets lost, Mm-hmm. Sex and the City reboot is coming back to HBO Max. They're returning without Samantha, which is the big news here. But the 3 other women will be back to return to their roles. We'll see what happens, but I think a lot of the hot gossip around it is obviously that Samantha is not coming back. Kim Cattrall is not going to reprise her role, and honestly, not shocked at all by this. It's been years now of Kim talking about how toxic the set was for her and how like everything was always blamed on her, and she doesn't get along with those women. And she's old enough now where she doesn't have to take projects just because, she has to do them. And she was like, yeah, I'm out. I'm not doing it. Sorry. Bye.
Yeah, it upsets me. Obviously, I love Sex and the City, so I'm excited that it's coming back. I think that everybody should watch Sex and the City one time straight through from beginning to end. It's a great, great show. But having Samantha not be in it is definitely a downfall. She's a great character. Yeah. She made for a lot of funny moments in the show. She was like the sexual comedic relief in the show. And I think that we are going to lose something from the show not having her in it. But I think that the other 3 women will make up for it at the same time. I think they're obviously going to write the show and produce the show in a way that it doesn't feel weird that Samantha's not in it. We're going to love the fact that the 3 women are together anyway. So I'm excited for it. And anything that HBO Max puts out, I give it a shot. Like, I love shows on HBO. I think HBO probably has the best shows, to be completely honest. Some of my favorites. So I'm really, really excited that it's coming back.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are excited to watch and excited to see how they do this, because I'm thinking that they might have to like kill Samantha.
Or have her move
Like,
away.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking that like
Kill her off? I mean, I don't think Sex in the City is going to go that deep.
I think they might. Like maybe the women all have to reunite because they've been away for so long, away from each other, and they all come back together because Samantha has died and they
Did Samantha
are reunited.
have breast cancer?
I don't recall.
In real life
I think there was
or the show?
I don't know. I don't think in real life. Hold on.
Yeah, Samantha, breast cancer, Sex in the City.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
In the show, she did.
Yeah, she's diagnosed with breast cancer in the show. So this is dark, but...
Yeah, and I think when there were the rumors that they were going to make a third movie, the third movie was going to kill off Mr. Big. So there might be a death from someone. Maybe are they going to kill Mr. Big in the show? I don't know. Like what? Come back. They can't
not have Mr. Big and not have Samantha.
I know. That was allegedly what was going to happen in the third movie. They could totally just throw that in the trash and not use any of that. But it does seem very clear. And, Sarah Jessica Parker is, in the general public, I think, notorious, like, nice girl, right? Like, all the comments of people saying, no, Samantha, or whatever. She's on Instagram being like, yeah, will always be a part of this show. Like, we'll miss her. All these things. In reality, in, like, 2018, Kim was putting out statements like, we were never friends, don't talk to me. Like, after her brother had died, and she wrote on Instagram, like, I don't need your love or support at this time. Like, basically just, like, get away from me and stay away from me. Because I think throughout all the years from the beginning of the show, Kim was always painted as the bad guy. When there was problems, like, when the third movie fell apart and it didn't happen, it was like, oh, well, it's Kim's fault because she didn't want to do the movie. So it seemed like she got a lot of blame for a lot of things. And she did this tell-all interview with Piers Morgan a few years back where she had just said that, like, none of the rumors about her being disruptive or diva behaviors, demanding money, all of these things were true. It just was always a 3-versus-1 situation. Like, Sarah Jessica Parker and the other women were on their side, and Kim was kind of on her own. And that's how it was almost the whole time.
You know what I think is unfortunate is that because Sarah Jessica Parker is so popular, right? And she responds to comments being like, oh, Samantha will always be a part of the show. She puts on this very nice girl act. I'm not saying it's an act. I'm sure she's a nice person. But then you have Kim, who is very real about what had happened, right? She's, straight up like, we didn't get along. And then that kind of makes her the bad guy. But I respect somebody who's not going to be like fake about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like in Hollywood, you kind of have to be fake. And so everybody likes you. And Sarah Jessica Parker, everyone's like, oh, she's nice. Look how nice she's being about it. That must mean everything's fine. But Sarah Jessica Parker could have very well been mean to Kim behind the scenes. But we would never know that because Sarah Jessica Parker is never going to let that face the public. Only Kim's word is. And because Sarah Jessica Parker is bigger than Kim, people are going to believe Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah. And it just seems like it seems crazy for me to wrap my mind around saying no to a project like this that is so lucrative unless you know that mentally you just can't do it. Like I think I saw this week the rumors are that each star is being paid like $1 million an episode. So
Whoa.
So if you're not, and money isn't everything, but if you aren't willing to like take that paycheck to do this show, I gotta think that you're so out on all of these people, all of these women. You can't even fathom being in the same room as them if you turn down a project like this.
Yeah, something had to have happened. I don't blame her if there was something behind the scenes that we don't know. Maybe they weren't nice to her, and we don't know that, which I think is unfortunate because I feel like that happens often.
Mean Girls vibe.
And people who, I'm not saying everybody who comes off so nice is actually mean behind the scenes, but very often everybody sees, or you'll see, oh, that person's so nice, oh my god, that person seems so sweet, they would never hurt anybody. Those are the people that are low-key the meanest. Well, I've realized in my life, where I'm like, that person puts on a front and then they're actually really mean and devious behind the scenes. Whereas if you're just a straight up real person, then you get both sides. You're like, that person could be mean, that person could be nice, they're a real person, they have all different angles to them.
Yep, I agree with you. So, look, the trailer, I think, got everyone hyped. It wasn't even a trailer. It was like a little teaser. But, you hear Sarah Jessica Parker's voice. I think it got everybody very excited, all the scenes in New York City. And they haven't started filming yet, but it does seem like it is all in the works. It's all coming. And, it's just another thing HBO Max is bringing back that we will watch, because how could you not? And it's funny because the last few things that they have put out, it just kind of gets worse and worse. You're like, oh, the show is fantastic. First movie, it was fine, enjoyable. I watched the first movie from time to time. Second movie, horrendous. Second movie was so bad. And so when they were even in talks to do a third movie, it was like, please don't.
Right.
I was like, please don't even do a third movie. Come on, aren't we past this? But maybe enough time has passed now where they can go back to the basics, go back to the show, HBO, the whole feel for it, and bring it back. And I hope we get a lot of guest appearances from the cast from the show to see where everybody is at now. Maybe some of the exes, see how life is going. And so I think it is exciting.
It's so updated now that I can't wait to see them in this world that we live in now.
Yeah, totally. Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey confirmed their relationship this week. People's sexiest man alive. We talking about Michael B. Jordan, hyping him up. He, like he said, people's sexiest man alive. Everybody wants to date him. He is off the market. He is dating Lori Harvey. Lori is the stepdaughter of Steve Harvey. I believe he did adopt her and her siblings, so she is Lori Harvey. And I think what was really crazy about this week with their story coming out of them dating, and there's been a lot of articles about it, it's like everybody is so hyper focused on her dating history and the people she's dated, because she's 24 and she's dated some big name people. And so people have been talking about it, but it's also she's 24. If she was a normal girl, it's not crazy to have one quote unquote boyfriend a year.
No, not at all.
Or someone, not even a boyfriend, someone you're dating. Some of these guys she's been linked with, I feel like were casual things.
Yeah, I feel like she was just dating around, but because she's a public figure, it gets deemed as boyfriend. But I will say Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey are both people that everybody wants to date. So to see them together is fantastic. I'm happy for them as a couple. And I feel like I haven't seen Michael B. Jordan with a girlfriend. So
not publicly.
I'm into it. I'm very into it.
I'm into it too. Obviously, it's one of those things where we're once again talking about two beautiful people dating each other.
I hope we don't jinx them. Why are we even talking about them? Because we know what happens when we talk about new couples and people. They become cannibals.
Yeah. Look, unfortunately, we got to just keep going. We can't have that worry in the back of our minds every time.
Just don't say you have a big crush on Michael B. Jordan.
But I do.
We did.
We've already said that.
You already said it. So, wait, Noah.
It was when I was hyping up A$AP Rocky, I was like, A$AP Rocky's so fucking sexy. I bet his sex tape would be wild. And then the sex tape comes out and everyone's like, A$AP doesn't fuck. I'm like, God damn it.
Noah, can you put the audio of this guy's TikTok? It's so funny. I'm not going to. So the TikTok, his profile on TikTok is at TUNJITL. But the lady sitter, Justin Sylvester, posted it on his feed. He's comparing Lori Harvey to Lady Bridgerton and it's spot on. He's like, this is black, like these are the people he's dated, and she's going through the courtship. Everybody wants to date Lori Harvey. She's so beautiful. And then she finally lands the Duke, which is Michael B. Jordan. It's spot on. It's hilarious. Play the audio for it.
I hereby declare that Lori Harvey is the Black Lady Bridgerton. When the daughter of Lord Steve came of age in the century's 15th year, she was declared the most eligible bachelorette by the High Council of Black Twitter. This led to an abundance of callers of the highest rank, some of which included Lord Trey from the House of Songs, most respected carriage rider Lord Hamilton, and even His Grace from Philly, Meek Millie, though some say that call was always destined to go bad. A confusing turn of events led to an alliance with Lord Justin from the House of Combs, though it was later revealed that this was merely a cunning strategy to catch the eye of Lord Combs himself. This courtship elevated her status even more, and there was no telling what the future held for Miss Harvey. And then along came the Duke. Yes, Lord Jordan, the great thespian whom every young lady would kill to be mongered by, called upon Miss Harvey, resulting in the greatest black alliance since Lady Nose Carter and Blue Ivy's father.
Okay, hilarious, spot on. I feel like every time I listen to it, it makes me laugh. Because Lori Harvey is like, I just picture her walking into the Queen's throne, and like the Queen in the first scene from Bridgerton, and the Queen getting up and being like, yes, you are the diamond of the season.
Exactly.
And everybody wants to date you.
And Michael B. Jordan is the golden ticket.
He really is. He is the Duke. So Michael B. Jordan
man alive.
And sexiest man alive made quite a couple. They posted the pictures, which were kind of like, hey, we're a couple. They were very dark, like moody Polaroid looking photos. And then it was just Lori's birthday this week. So he posted a birthday picture for her and like a video of them playing in the snow. Super adorable. I think she had like a birthday party, what it looked like at her house with just her family and everybody involved. Just seemed like she is very happy with him and vice versa. So look, very happy for her. She's 24. She does seem like she has lived a lot of life, because people were like, he's 33, she's 24, but she's the diamond of the season, like I said.
You know who loves a good designer item? Our girl, Cynthia Bailey. We have her on the show. We're going to be talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta, but we all know that she knows how to dress. And you know what? Luxury never sleeps, which is why you need the Real Real app. The Real Real is the largest and most trusted source for authenticated luxury consignment. On the app, you can shop and sell top designers 24/7 from anywhere. Think Gucci, Hermes, Louis Vuitton, Rolex, Cartier, all up to 90% off retail. Everything is authenticated by a team overseen by luxury experts, and thousands of new items arrive daily. You can personalize your shopping experience with My TRR, save searches for your favorite designers and items in your size, and watch new items stream in. Plus, keep tabs on your favorites. Just click the heart next to any item to add it to your obsessions. An app-exclusive feature allows you to share these obsessions with friends and family, and it's perfect for dropping little hints about maybe, a birthday gift in the future. You to throw it on there, something, let people know what you want. And if your luxury items, if you have luxury items that you no longer use, the Real Real app makes it easy to sell. You can book an appointment on the app, track your items with your personalized My Sales dashboard, and get notifications when your items sell. We both have shopped on the Real Real plenty of times. Like I've said, bags that Hank has gotten me for gifts before have come from the Real Real. Shoes, Fran got a new ring from the Real Real. It's really a great place to shop for luxury items. They really have it all. Just type it in and you'll find what you're looking for. Download the Real Real app today to shop and sell your favorite luxury brands and get 20% off select items with code REAL. Plus, new shoppers get $25 off their first purchase. Available on the App Store or Google Play. Get the Real Real app today. All right, everyone. We are here with a special guest, Cynthia Bailey from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Welcome back to the show, Cynthia. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, just living the life, just day by day. I feel like, starting this new year, everyone had, anytime you go into a new year, you're like, all right, things are going to change. I'm going to do this differently. This is going to be great. Everything in 2020 is going to stop. that has not been the case.
Like, yeah, I mean, we had about 5 good days to begin the year, and then all hell literally broke loose.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Those were 5 really nice days.
Yeah, every day is worse than the one before, but that's okay. Yeah. That's we're not going to talk about that.
It was like we had like a 5-day trial on 2021.
Yeah, they were like, all right, time's up. Now you guys are going to pay. Yeah. Exactly. But first of all, congratulations. You got married back in October in this season of Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yes. 10/10/20. You loved that date. You wanted to get married on that date specifically. Is there a reason that you really loved that date?
You know what? Honestly, it just is like with anything that I feel passionate about. It just felt right. You know, once we came up with a date with the help of Candy, actually, you know, I'm into the numbers, 10/10/20. 2020, you know, perfect vision, perfect. You know, my mantra with my husband and I is we're not perfect, but we're perfect for each other. So it just felt right.
Yeah. And it is it's a very aesthetically pleasing date. It's, 10 plus 10 is twice. It's a good
clean.
Date. Like it's a very clean. Yes. Yeah. Yes. It definitely is. This new season of Real Housewives of Atlanta definitely, looks different than seasons past. You guys were filming during the pandemic. We're seeing you guys talk about things that you've talked about before, but just, it feels so much more important. Like from the beginning of the season, you see everything that Portia has been doing and you guys supporting her. And how has that all been now watching it back and seeing those moments play out on TV?
It's been amazing. And kudos to Bravo for making sure that we were able to really include these real life world matters that were happening to all of us in different ways, from the pandemic to Black Lives Matter. You know, it's a part of everyone's reality. So there was no way we could do a reality show and not show the world's reality that we live in.
Yeah, I feel like it's a great thing that, like you said, Bravo is showing that, because in years past, obviously with reality TV, it says reality, but you get the juicy drama. You don't really get real world problems. I know that we saw it on this past season of The Bachelor. It's like, oh, usually The Bachelor just skates by everything. But then you saw people talking about things like a little more in depth, really touching on some important topics. And we see it this season with you guys, which I think is a really good thing that Bravo's doing it.
Yeah, I again, kudos to them. You know, it was important to, myself and of course my cast, that we talked about some of these issues that are going on in the world. And, our show is a drama-based show and everybody just wants the fun and the shade and the drama. We still give you that. We still bring that to you guys. Be clear. We have, quite a few more episodes to go. However, we were affected by all of the events of 2020. So it just made sense to talk about it.
Yeah, I was going to say the drama is definitely still there. You're all there celebrating Portia, but at the same time, Kenya doesn't get that invite, and it makes, tensions kind of grow a little bit. Did you, this past episode, we saw you guys all sit down for your surprise engagement party, which we'll talk about, but had there been some kind of tension between Kenya and Portia at that time after Kenya was, not included in this event?
Well, you know what? I wasn't really clear where Kenya and Portia were in their relationship, because it kind of changes a lot. It's very up and down. For the most part, they're never usually in a great place. And then they kind of were for a while after they had the babies. So it wasn't clear for me where they were. With that said, I felt like for something like this, these girls are all about the drama, without question, 100%. But I will say, whenever we come together for a good cause, like, when Kenya did her domestic violence PSA, we always come together when it's a real situation, when it's something that's important, and something like, celebrating Portia for all of her efforts, just being like on the front lines for the Breonna Taylor case. That was just something I personally felt like. I mean, I actually vouched for her, but they didn't show that part. I was like, I can vouch that she will definitely, be happy to be at this event, and, it won't be any nonsense going on. But that didn't happen. But in any case, I personally feel like anytime we're doing anything like, a voting initiative, Black Lives Matter, anything, domestic abuse, anything that we want to get behind together. We have coming up in Sunday's episode, Candy is doing a big Candy Cares where we're feeding, people in need. We all come together we all come together on the side of righteousness usually. So I was a little disappointed that Kenya missed it, because it was a really, it was a big moment for Portia, and she deserved it. And I felt like we all should have been there to lift her up in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to put the petty drama, the petty shit aside, because like you said, real life matters more important than the little fights that you guys have.
Yeah. It's like Black Lives Matter. Am I getting along with Kenya this week? I think we got to go with Black Lives Matter. And so anyway.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about the surprise engagement party. You really seemed like you had no idea. I was cracking up watching because can you explain to us where the rumor started that Joe Biden was going to be at the event? Because you were ready to go, I was and when you were in the car with Mike and you're like, you think I can ask him to take a picture? I was like, oh my God, I felt bad because I was like, she's going to be disappointed that this is just an engagement party. She's going to be like, I thought Joe Biden was going to be here.
And I kind of was. I mean, Mike and I were pretty hyped up. So this is how the whole thing started. So Kenya decided to throw me this surprise party. Engagement party as a way to kind of make up for pretty much almost ruining my proposal. Yeah. Okay. I know nothing about her plans to do this. She recruits Candy because, Kenya's not always in the best place with everyone, and Candy had a better shot of actually getting everyone to come. So Candy ended up co-hosting. All I kept being told from Kenya and from production, since we break the fourth wall all the time, this is a white tie event, we have to be a certain time and doors are going to be locked at this time and this, that, and the other. So I don't know, maybe like 3 days before the event, someone put in the group, the ladies, we all have like a little group text, right? Group chat. And someone put on there, I think it was Shamia, like she wasn't going to be able to make it. And she was like, I'm so bummed out that I'm going to be missing Biden. Now you got to remember, we're filming. I'm like looking at this. I was like, oh shit, I knew it was like something crazy. I knew it was something big. I'm busy. I got 2 or 3 scenes a day. So I don't have time to really investigate anything, but I'm just thinking, babe, I knew it was like, because nobody would say what it was. It was like such a huge secret. And I was like, it makes sense. We were in the middle of like campaign. He was in the middle of campaigning for the election. This is a huge year. Georgia, as you guys can see,
Georgia was huge.
Damn important. Okay.
Yep.
So excuse me that I thought Candy had the pull. I mean, she has like 7-8 million followers alone. Pulling us in, that's probably like 30,000 million people that we could have gotten to vote for the president of our choice, which would have been Biden for us. So anyway, so I just kind of, Mike and I just was like, it makes sense. Like we have to be there at this time, Secret Service, whatever. Like we were so hyped, we walked straight into the party because I went in looking for, the Secret Service, basically.
Right. You didn't see the hashtag chill like giant in your face.
Hashtag chill ice sculpture. Photos of us on the wall. Like we just went straight. I was like, they're gonna lock the doors. We gotta go. We gotta get. Like I just was like, and of course I'm always on time. I am the most on-time housewife probably in the whole franchise. Okay.
Yep.
You cannot have a surprise party for me and give me the real time. Like I'm going to be there on time. So of course I got there like right away because that's what I do. So anyway, it was crazy. And I still feel like I low key am owed a Biden party. I'm just saying I need to be invited somewhere because I don't think anyone could have been more excited than Mike and I.
I think that's,
they have to make up to you somehow.
Yeah.
Like, they were trying to be nice and they were trying to throw a party for you, but also they maybe shouldn't have made it so hyped up. They probably should have told I feel like they could have came up with any other thing that you'd be like, all right, it's a party. I'm going to go for my friends. But when you say Biden's going to be there and then you show up and you're like, wait, this is just about me. There's like 10 people here and he's never coming.
Like, oh, it's just our engagement. party. Oh,
Like-
so this mean, I mean, still, even when I figured it out, I was like, oh, so he's definitely not coming. They're like, no, he's not coming.
He's
So
not
take a
coming to
minute
wish
for
me
me later to go.
congratulations. No.
Yeah,
and I'm getting,
it is very
fans
funny.
are having a lot of fun with me with this. Every time I post something, I'll look in my comments and people will say stuff like, oh, Biden's at my house right now. We're barbecuing in the backyard. You want to come by? Oh, I just bumped into Biden at Walmart. You want to stop by, Cynthia? And I'm like, oh, man. So, anyway, it happens.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
they probably could have thought of someone maybe not as huge to tease you with to get you there. But like you said, you are very much on time and noted. And it's hilarious to me that so many of these women are just so late sometimes. Like LaToya walked into your party an hour and a half late. Like at that point, don't show up.
Exactly,
You can't do that for surprise
exactly.
parties. You can't do
No,
that.
they do it all the time. Portia was late. Portia's usually late. It's just a lot. But I mean, I'm just a stickler for time. Reality show star or not. In real life, I'm on time. It's just who I am. Like I have a lot of respect for people's time because I like for people to respect my time. So it's it's a personal choice for me to actually be respectful of folks' time.
So I want to ask you about this too because this was a big part of the episode and it was kind of wild to me. LaToya and Kenya have an interesting relationship. And we saw LaToya have a naked photo of Kenya on her phone that Kenya sent to her. Do you think, like, is LaToya just kind of Kenya's like yes man? Like she's just there to pump up Kenya when she needs it? I don't
know. We kind of describe her as a little Kenya Junior in a lot of ways. She's not really, I wouldn't say a yes man because as the show goes on, they kind of go back and forth. I mean, LaToya is definitely her own person. She definitely has her own mind and all that stuff. But I will say LaToya and Kenya definitely connected. Well, I didn't know they connected that much. They were sending naked pictures, but yeah, obviously they connected. But at the time, you got to remember, my focus was obviously 10-10-20, getting married.
Yep.
And Kenya at the time was going through what was looking like a definite divorce at the time. So she was, looking like she was getting ready to end the relationship. As you guys get to know LaToya, she's definitely going through some stuff in her relationship that looks like it's coming to an end as well. So they kind of came together on that. They had, they shared that in common where I'm over here like, doing a WAP trying to get this wedding plan. So I think they just organically connected because they had things in common. And she was kind of like, a breath of fresh air to Kenya. She's like a fun party girl. And Kenya was definitely, like most of us during the pandemic, everybody was stuck at home and she kind of got into a little slump and we all like gained weight and didn't feel that great. You know what I'm saying? And then, LaToya just came with her tequila shots and just made it all better for Kenya.
Yeah, she's like a hype woman.
Nice. Yeah.
Not a yes woman, a hype woman.
Hype woman. Yeah. And everybody needs a friend like that because those are the best kinds of friends.
Who doesn't need a hype woman?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. So you guys, we're watching you plan this wedding. We're coming down to the wire. There's a lot going on. We see you and Mike have a lot of conversations about like, can we even have this wedding? Is this something we want to do? And we watched you on Watch What Happens Live on Sunday. Andy said the number one question viewers wanted to know was how you guys were able to have this wedding and what protocol put in place. So we, how did you pull off that wedding? How did you pull off having, that many guests in October in a pandemic? And hopefully, it was a success.
Well, I'm so glad you asked. I've been asked this question a lot of times.
Yes.
First and foremost, by the grace of God, that's for sure. Any wedding is very stressful to plan, without question. A pandemic wedding was a huge undertaking. Looking back, I don't know how I was able to pull it off. But I will say, we just wanted to make sure, 10-10-20 was our date. However, Mike and I did think about postponing it and delaying it like every other bride that was trying to get married last year. We went through all of those things as well. But, at the time, you guys, timeline wise, we were still early in the early planning stages. This was like May, June. So, people kept telling us, oh, by October, you guys will be fine. Like, we just kept thinking this thing was going to be gone by October. This started in like March. I was quarantined in Los Angeles with my family. So I was optimistic. I was excited. I've made no secret that I am very excited about my relationship with my now husband, Mike Hill. So all that excitement went all the way through to the day of the wedding. With that said, my question was, okay, we don't even know if we could have it 2021, the wedding that we want. So is there a way to do this wedding legally? We didn't break any laws. Just put that out there. The venue, the governor, everything was approved that we could actually have this wedding with this amount of people. Is there a way to have a COVID-19 wedding, since we don't know where it's going? We may be dealing with this for years now. And we came up with, the best solution, which was just like give our guests everything they need to be safe, transparency being number one, that it is going to be a larger wedding. Our guests obviously didn't have to come to this wedding. You know what I mean? We were actually kind of happy to get, declines, graceful declines. Right. So it was like, oh, great, somebody else is not coming. But, for me, this is like my happy ending. And I've been married, before. You guys saw me when I first came on the show, and I had a big wedding on the show, and that obviously didn't end up being my happy ending. But I was just optimistic and just excited to see if we could do this and make sure that everyone is safe. And hindsight being 2020, everyone was. There were no positive cases that I know of that came back that was related to our wedding. We had a COVID-19 specialist come and spray the venue. I mean, it cost a lot of money. It would have been cheaper to have delayed the wedding or had a wedding with 10 people. Trust and believe. Mask, shields, temperature checks. Like, you couldn't even come in without actually physically washing your hands in a basin. We had, sanitizer stations everywhere. We did everything that we could do on our part. And you got to remember, I'm about to be 54 soon. Mike just turned 50. This was not Miami spring break. Most of our guests are grown people who are responsible and who have no interest in trying to get sick. So we did the best that we could do. And again, by the grace of God, everyone's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's just because it is on television and we're all going to watch it happen. I'm sure you're going to catch some heat for it if you haven't already.
Yeah. I have been from the moment.
Yeah. I feel like you have no regrets though. It's like that was your date. You're happy about it.
I have one regret. My only one regret. And this is what I've shared with some other brides who are getting married this year, because now I've kind of become the COVID-19 bride, and people have been reaching out to me wanting to know what all we did, to have a successful wedding without, any incidents. My one regret is I don't even like to say regret, because I don't really live life with regrets. The one thing I would have done differently is we would have required mandatory COVID-19 testing. We encouraged it, but at the time, it wasn't just readily available to everyone. Yeah. Testing. Some states you could get it easily, some states you couldn't, or whatever. And we had a lot of out-of-town guests. But in that case, it just would have been one of those, well, if you can't get the test, we just wanted you to know that we would have loved you to have been there, but unfortunately you can't come. So all the other brides that are getting married this year, I told them to make sure that they require their guests to have mandatory tests. They have to bring their test results to the wedding, 5 days before the wedding or whatever the requirement is, to make sure that everyone's safe. That way, although you still, I still encourage masks and everything, at least you don't have to freak out every time someone takes off a mask to take a picture or take a, drink a champagne or eat. It just takes all the pressure away. That's the one thing I would have done differently. And just if you couldn't get the test, you just couldn't come. So yeah. Well, that's good advice for those who, are trying to plan any wedding or anything that, coming up this year while we're still living through all of this. At your engagement party, you asked Kenya and Candy to be bridesmaids. Yes. Were there
Was there any bridesmaids drama? Did any of the other women get upset that they weren't bridesmaids? Like, how did you kind of pick which of the women got to be your bridesmaids?
Well, I actually didn't plan on having bridesmaids for the longest. And once I realized that we were going to be able to pull the wedding off, I don't know, about a month out, I was like, you know what? I want some bridesmaids, I think. You know, a woman is entitled to change her mind. You know, Mike always had his groomsmen, and he was always like, babe, you sure you don't want any bridesmaids? I was like, no, I don't want any drama. My first wedding, there was just so much drama going on. And I know that, you know, with bridesmaids, it's just, I've been a bridesmaid many times, and it's drama. It's just a lot going on. So I just didn't want to deal with it. I mean, I had enough drama going on just outside. I mean, just trying to pull off the wedding. So that just would have been one of those things that I wasn't interested in doing. Anyway, changed my mind maybe about a month and a half out, and invited some of my girls. And from the cast, I did invite Kenya and Candy. I invited Kenya because, you know, despite what people think of our relationship, from what they see on the show, you know, it doesn't always seem like she always has my back. But I will say that, you know, we have an amazing relationship. She's definitely one of my closest confidants. And it meant a lot for her to be there for me. Candy, Candy and I have come a long way. She's definitely someone I would call, you know, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning if I needed something. She's just always been super supportive. And, you know, it just felt right. Like, I just was like, you know what? I would love to have Candy by my side. I love the direction that our friendship is going. So that's how they got invited. In terms of anyone else, in some kind of way, I don't know. I mean, you know, Portia was kind of giving me a hard time, but you know, at the end of the day, I don't, you know, hopefully Portia's going to be getting married soon, and I'm probably not going to be one of her bridesmaids. You know, we kind of go up and down a lot. I love and support her always. She loves and supports me, but we just are not that close as friend. So, and that's just what it is. You know, Drew, you know, we just started to get to know each other, and, you know, Marlo and I go up and down. So really it was pretty much, it shouldn't have been that big of a surprise that only Kenya and Candy would have had a shot.
Yeah, I feel like when you're all on a show together, people expect everyone, like, even though there's fights and there's drama, and you know that some people aren't as close as everyone else, you expect them to all be like buddy in real life, and like, oh, those are going to be your bridesmaids. But if you guys are in mutual understanding that you're not that close of friends, and
I mean, be clear, we have a sisterhood. I mean, the show definitely has us bonded and connected together and all of that. However, you know, some girls are just organically closer to some, the friendships outside of the show are just organic. You either just vibe with each other or you don't. And, you know, again, I think I'm the oldest on the show at this point. I like kind of hanging out with the girls that are a little closer to my age as well. No shout out to the nieces on the show, but I like hanging with the aunties. And, you know, Candy's a young auntie, but she's kind of in auntie world now. So
that makes sense.
It definitely makes sense. You mentioned Drew. Drew is new this season.
Yes.
How has everyone been getting along with her? You know, if you don't know, like Drew, you know, she was an actress. Like I have seen her in a bunch of things. It's, you know, so I was excited when I saw her name, you know, on this new season, being a part of this cast, and would love to know like how you guys felt about it. A new girl in the group.
Oh, we love fresh blood for sure. I mean, I've been on the show for over a decade now. I stopped counting at this point, but yeah, definitely. I mean, and we can only argue with each other, but for so long. I mean, after a while, even you guys after a while, you guys will even be like, we're sick of hearing like, why is Kenya and Marlo not friends? Like, after a while, every season, it's just like, just be in a cool place already so we can just move on. So I think Drew is a great addition to the show. I definitely think that she brings her own flavor, Chicago flavor to the show. And it's not an easy group to come in, especially first season. You know, first season for me was a complete nightmare. I was called everything from single black female to everything. I had my friendship contract. I thought it was a cute, fun joke. And they pretty much made me seem like I was a stalker. So yeah, and you know, my personal life was crazy. We were, losing money. Like, it just was a lot. And it was all like in real life and televised that all this stuff was going down. So it's not easy. And I think she comes in and I think she does a pretty good job. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's certainly nice to see your journey, like you said, from when you started to where you are now. It's been, like you said, it has been a journey, but it seems like you are very happy in your life right now and where you are and everything, which is just very great to see.
Well, I am. And like my tagline says, I've been through the peaks and valleys and now I'm head over heels. And you guys have gotten a chance to be a part of those peaks and valleys with me. You know, it has not, my life's been, I'm an older girl. Like I said, I've been through a lot and I've lived a great life, but it's been a lot of ups and downs. And I've, as a reality star, I have been very transparent and I've shared it all with you guys. So it's only right that I would share my happy, blissful self now, where I'm at right now, happily married, very much in love with my best friend, Mike Hill. And I want to celebrate that, especially now with everything going on in the world. I think love is it's just a good time to celebrate just love and peace.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you mentioned it earlier. Do you feel like this is your happy ending now?
100%.
That's 100%.
Good to hear. I think, Mike I describe him as the I describe Mike as the male version of me. If I was a guy, I'd be Mike Hill, like without question. So I think I have a pretty good shot. And this is coming from someone who very publicly declared that I would never get married again because I thought I never would. I always still wanted to find love. I figured I would, meet someone that I could, maybe shack up with. He could shack up with me or whatever. We could have some kind of arrangement. But I never thought I would be, excited about a wedding date. I just never saw that coming. So I feel very, very blessed to have found him.
Well, we're
especially
happy
being
to
a
hear
woman
it.
of a certain age, for us, I'm turning 54 in February, and I know that seems old to young people. And, a lot of people my age feel like, they just kind of feel like giving up. I feel like, it's over, for them in terms of just like, finding love. And I think I have pretty much single-handedly changed that perception, at least on Housewives. That it's never too late to find love, and you should celebrate your love. You should celebrate being happy. You should not settle, and you should walk toward it, run toward it in my case. So I want to point out, you guys didn't ask me this too, going back to the wedding. One of the other things that happened at the last minute was Hurricane Delta. The week of my wedding. The day of my wedding. So we actually had
kind of forgot about that.
Oh yeah, well it was kind of a big deal because that almost took me out, because now we're like 3 days before the wedding and somehow it's all working out. And the hurricane happens, and of course, I'm checking the weather report, the Weather Channel. It basically was a hurricane the day of the wedding, the week of the wedding, which some people say, rain is good luck. So I guess a hurricane is amazing luck.
Yeah,
extra good luck.
Together forever if you got to go through a hurricane. Yeah,
for sure. So anyway, at the last minute, I said all that to say at the last minute, we ended up 3 days before I had to make the call to just change everything up and move the wedding back inside, because we had moved everything outdoors as an attempt to do another thing to make people feel safe. And then that all went to hell, and pretty much was like, okay, so it's going to be not drizzling, but like pouring down rain, like it's wind. So we had to go back in about 3 days before. And that just was a mess, because then we had to like make everything work inside. But
yeah. And at that point, it's not like you're getting any of your money back. Like at that point, the place is keeping it. Like there's if you cancel that.
Everyone's on the ground at that point. Everyone's flying
3
in.
days
Our guests
before.
are even in town at this point, and Mike and I have a lot of out of town friends. I spent most of my life in New York, and he spent most of his life in California. So, and that's another reason we thought a lot of people wouldn't come, because we didn't have a lot of people in Atlanta that, were invited. I didn't think all these people, it's like usually when you invite out of town people to a wedding, everyone doesn't show up. But I think the pandemic kind of backfired on us, because I think if we weren't in a pandemic, maybe so many people wouldn't come, but because people were so cooped up in the house for months, like, give me my mask and my shield and my hand sanitizer, I'm coming. Like, they even wanted to come more because they just had been in the house for 6 months. So.
Right. Yeah. So, we're going to watch, I feel like we're going to watch it all play out in the next coming weeks on Real Housewives of Atlanta. We'll see how it goes down. I know it's probably going to be very drama filled for you, Cynthia, watching it, because, people are going to see the pictures and the photos and the masks and everything. And
it's like reliving it twice. I already relived it when I actually got married. And then when it comes on the show, I got to get.
Exactly. But,
but hopefully that'll be the last time. So
yes. Well, we will be tuning in. Real Housewives of Atlanta is on Bravo Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. Cynthia, thank you so much for coming and talking to us, and can't wait to talk to you again soon.
Yes. Don't be a stranger. Yeah, maybe talk to me again after the episode airs.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see how you're feeling after that.
Be like, hey, so how's it going? Are you all right?
Just checking in.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you, guys. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, that wraps up today's episode of Chicks in the Office. We hope you enjoyed it. Finally talking about Armie Hammer. I know you guys had to wait all week for this episode, but hopefully we covered everything. We hope you have a fantastic weekend, and we'll talk to you guys on Monday. Love you. Bye.